Okay, so let's talk about marriage. We're all fed this fairy tale version, right? But what really happens after you say I do? We're going to peel back the curtain on some of the surprising, unspoken truths about this whole journey. In Ghana, there's this amazing chant you'll hear at weddings, and it reveals something incredibly profound about marriage right from the very first day. The married couple, they don't know. And that sounds a little harsh, right? But it's not a diss at all. It's actually a celebration. It's this joyful way of saying that marriage is this huge journey into the unknown, a path of discovery that starts the second you say those vows. All right, so here's the game plan. We're going to look at what comes after happily ever after, why it takes more than just love, the real truth about fighting, why it's so important to still be you, how couples handle life's curveballs, and what an evolving love story actually looks like. Okay, first up, we have got to talk about happily ever after and why it's just not the real story. Think about it. Every movie, every story, it builds up to the wedding like it's the grand finale, the finish line. But that's just not how it works. In reality, the wedding, well, that's the starting pistol. That's when the real work, the real discovery, and honestly, the real adventure actually kicks off. So, next up, love. We all hear love conquers all, but is passion really the glue that holds a marriage together for the long haul? Well, the actual research might just blow your mind. So there's this researcher, Dr. John Gottman. He's a legend in this field. And get this, he can predict with 91% accuracy whether a newlywed couple will end up divorced. Sometimes all he needs is to watch them talk for 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. How does he do it? Well, here's the secret sauce. He's not watching for grand romantic gestures or how in love they seem. Nope, he's looking at something much, much simpler. How good of friends are they? That's it. Decades of research all point to one thing. A deep, real friendship is the absolute best predictor of a happy, lasting marriage. And we're not just talking about having fun together. This kind of friendship runs deep. It's built on a foundation of mutual respect. It's about actually knowing your partner's inner world. Like, what are their biggest hopes? What's stressing them out? What do they dream about? It's about having this genuine admiration for who they are. And maybe most importantly, giving them the benefit of the doubt when things inevitably get a little rocky. All right, let's bust another huge myth. The idea that happy couples never, ever fight. This quote here tells such a powerful story. A pastor is talking to a man who's getting divorced, and the guy is just completely blindsided. He says, "But we never argued. I thought we had a great marriage." And that was the light bulb moment for the pastor. The lack of fighting wasn't a sign that everything was perfect. It was a sign that they had completely disconnected. So, if arguing isn't the problem, what is? Well, the thing is, healthy couples do argue. Arguing means you're still talking, you're still engaged, you're still trying to figure things out. The real danger isn't the conflict itself. It's all about how you fight. And this is where Dr. Gottman's work is so brilliant again. He identified these 4 communication styles that are so toxic, he calls them the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. First, you've got criticism. That's not just a complaint, it's an attack on your partner's character. Then there's contempt. This is the really nasty one. Sarcasm, mockery, eye-rolling. Gottman says this is the single biggest predictor of divorce. From there, you get defensiveness. Playing the victim, it's not my fault, it's yours. And finally, stonewalling. That's when one person just completely shuts down, withdraws, and refuses to engage. When these 4 show up to the party, your relationship is on very shaky ground. Okay, on to our next point. Let's talk about this whole idea that when you get married, 2 people become one. Yeah, that whole 2 bodies, 1 soul thing, it might sound romantic, but it's not really the goal for a healthy modern marriage. It's not about losing who you are. The strongest marriages are actually more like a beautiful tapestry woven from 2 completely different, vibrant threads. It's about cheering each other on to have separate friends and hobbies. It's about championing each other's personal goals. The idea is for 2 whole, independent people to walk side by side, and then bring all those cool, separate experiences back to make the life you share even richer. Now, no marriage exists in a bubble, right? Life is going to throw things at you. Money stress, job changes, family drama. But one of the biggest, most studied curveballs of them all, having kids. So to really dig into this, researchers did this massive 8-year study. They followed 218 couples, tracking how happy they were in their marriage, and then they compared the couples who had kids with the ones who didn't. And the results were, well, they were pretty shocking. And they lined up with a lot of other studies. A whopping 67%. That's 2 out of every 3 couples experienced a steep nosedive in their relationship satisfaction right after their first child was born. And you can really see the impact here. Look, for all couples, satisfaction kind of naturally drifts a bit over time. But for non-parents, it's a slow, gradual slope. For parents, it's a cliff, a sudden, sharp drop right after the baby arrives. It is a seismic shift that, frankly, most of us are just not prepared for. Okay, so if happily ever after is a myth and life is guaranteed to be messy, what's the actual goal here? What does a real happy ending even look like? It's all about shifting your goal. You have to let go of this idea of finding a perfect person and reaching some static, effortless state of happiness. The real goal is to embrace the fact that love is a dynamic process. It's about committing to the journey with a very imperfect person and knowing that it's going to take real, intentional work. Because a truly successful marriage isn't about having a perfect record and avoiding all the tough stuff. No way. It's about how you navigate all of it, from the dumb little arguments to the massive life tests, together. And when you do that, you forge this bond that is so much deeper, so much more real than that initial honeymoon phase could ever be. Which kind of leaves us with this final thought to chew on. What if the goal isn't happily ever after at all? What if it's growing ever together? What if the whole point isn't arriving at some perfect destination, but committing every single day to the messy, beautiful, shared process of just growing?